Margaret Atwood.
Hey everyone, I'm Lem. Welcome to my life. A couple of weekends ago, I went to the Frankfurt Book Fair, or Book Fair, which is the largest event of its kind anywhere in the world. Every year, close to 300,000 people stream through the doors of the Trade and Exhibition Centre over the course of 5 days. And it's one of my absolute favourite things to do here in Frankfurt. I've been every year since I moved here. It's completely something else, Disneyland for bibliophiles essentially. Now the Buchmesse has always had kind of a mythical quality to it in my mind, because I remember back at university during my translation classes I was translating a text about the book fair. It was the first time I'd heard of it and I was like, whoa, that sounds amazing. And then I moved here and I got to translate texts that were going to be used at the book fair. Oh my gosh. And then I finally got to go to the book fair. There are over 7,000 exhibitors from hundreds of different countries displaying the different books that they have for sale in all types of genres. You can buy calendars, self-help books, cookery books, novels, autobiographies. You name it, they'll have it. Every kind of special interest literature is there. And not only that, but there's all sorts of events going on over the course of these few days. There are talks with authors, debates. There's just so much to see and so much to do. There's also a programme of events under the title Open Books, which goes on in conjunction with all the stuff at the Buchmesse itself. Even if you just went one day, you'd be able to take in a heck of a lot of culture and shop for books to your heart's content.
Endlich keinen Wolf mehr spielen muss.
One thing straight off the bat though is if you don't like crowds, this is probably not the event for you, and I mean that in the nicest possible way, but you're going to be walking in single file, pressed up against the backpack of the person in front. There's going to be a whole conga line of people behind you, just going. In a boiling hot hall, carrying about 20 bags of loot. So, I mean, if you can deal with that, brilliant. However, there's still stuff going on outside as well. Agora, which is like the open events space. There's also a pavilion where award ceremonies take place. The Leserzelt, which is sponsored by Yogi Tea. And it's really beautiful inside there. Stained glass and things and dark wood. I was super lucky this year because nobody else from the team actually wanted to go. So I got the trade pass for 2 whole days. So I thought, strictly speaking, I should pace myself. I should only do, a couple of floors, a couple of halls, concentrate on one thing and come back and do the rest tomorrow. But of course that's not what I did because I got lost. Ever so slightly lost right now. I'll just see where I end up. Now, if you look at the map, there are 6 different halls crammed with stuff going on. It doesn't all take place on one level either. So you've got hall 3.1, stall C27 or something. The place is gigantic. It's so busy and so confusing, but there are travelators, so that is one good thing. That gives you some idea of the sheer scale of it. It's like airport size, not kidding. This year I also downloaded the app, which I believe is new, and in some ways that was pretty helpful. You could favourite the events that you intended to go to. You could look at the programme to see what's happening right now. And there was also a function whereby you could type in your current location and try and get the app to direct you to where you wanted to be. But often that wasn't too helpful in my case because I was like, I don't even know where I am now. Somewhere on planet Earth, I guess. Yeah, if you're less directionally challenged than I am, then yeah, that might be a great help to you. It'd be fascinating if you attend something like this every year because you get to see how it changes and develops, and there were quite a lot of changes this year. Cosplay element is quite an integral part of the event. How many chances do you really get to dress up in all your cool costumes in day-to-day life? Not a heck of a lot, so it's brilliant that they can come to the book fair and do this, especially seeing as there's comic books on sale and stuff. In previous years they've had an entire hall, and it was right as you came in through the entrance, stalls of Japanese food, calligraphy pens, kimonos, wigs, all sorts of cool stuff. But this year it was relegated to floor 4. It only took up, I wouldn't even say a third of a hall. It was a really small section. It did seem a bit low-key this year, maybe because it was the end of the day. They did have a cosplay stage and everything, and I think earlier in the day there had been performances and things, but still there was a lot less of it than there had been in previous years. Something which has taken precedence this year, and which took up the remainder of that hall, was the kind of audiobook market. I was just flicking through El País today, and they had a whole article about it. At the 71st Frankfurt Book Fair, there was a special area for Frankfurt audio. The profit made by audiobooks has risen by 24.5% on 2017, or 940 million euros. Wow. It's brilliant because the book fair keeps its finger on the pulse of new technologies as well. I remember last year there was a kind of digital animation demonstration.
I love Germany. I had a chance to explore and I really like it now.
So it's not just books, there's tech too. Filipino dessert I've been telling everyone about, and I don't get the point because it's got beans in it. Oh no, somebody is eating chocolate. One major element of the book fair is the guest of honour. The guest country has a special space to exhibit their literature and to hold little events and workshops and put on little activities related to their country. Last year it was the turn of Georgia, and Georgia did an incredible job. They had made these wonderful wooden characters from their alphabet, and inside them were written little stories from Georgian folklore. So that was really fascinating and beautiful. This year, I'm going to be honest, the guest country was Norway, and it disappointed me. Okay, so if I'm being honest, I think the kind of guest country section was a bit disappointing this year. Considerably smaller than it was last year. There's a cinema. But was there any Norwegian film on the programme? There was not. Norway is such a fascinating country with such a wonderful dramatic landscape. I just don't understand why they couldn't incorporate some of these elements into their display, because essentially what they had was a room with 2 mirrored walls and some tables for books with kind of wiggly metal bits on them. Yeah, all of these book tables are now going to be given to German booksellers to have on display, so we'll be probably seeing them around Frankfurt. Hooray! It was so funny because there were 2 little activity tables. One of them consisted of these little sort of canisters which looked like salt and pepper shakers. If you sniffed them, they were meant to evoke some kind of scent which you then matched up with what was written on a card. You had to guess. And all the cards had weird abstract stuff on them, like puberty or 1972 by the lake. Oh no, there was one quite specific one, and that was a hot dog. And it was quite easy to smell which one was the hot dog. And then there was another table, you had an ink pad and some stamps, and you just stamped vaguely Nordic shapes onto this piece of paper. And because it was the only thing to do in the room, people were queuing up to do it, like grown adults. I got one. I stood around and stamped stuff. It's boiling hot in there as well because of the lights and the mirrors. What I really did enjoy though were the talks. I'll be honest, I don't often go to the talks because I'm generally not organised enough. In the past I have stopped at the federal government stall because they do have their own little corner of one hall. where they talk about societal issues, etc.
Und alle, auf allen Ebenen. Da nehme ich auch Kommunen, da nehme ich erst recht den Bund nicht aus der Verpflichtung, aber ich weiß, was Sie meinen.
But this year, I saw Margaret Atwood was on the programme, and I was like... So first I attended a talk called Future Libraries.
The project involves trees growing for 100 years, and in each of the 100 years, a different author will provide a text, a secret text, which will be put in the Future Library of Norway. And in year 100, like Sleeping Beauty, the texts will all awaken, and they will be made visible, and they will be printed on paper made from the trees that have grown in Norway. I think some writers would have said no, because the proposition was that you should write a text. You should not let anybody read it. There should only be 2 copies. And you would therefore, if you're the first author, 100 years later, you get the reviews. That's not always a bad thing.
Margaret Atwood was this year's chosen novelist, but in the past David Mitchell has contributed. The next author to contribute is going to be Karl Ove Knausgaard. I've probably mangled his name, I'm so sorry, but you know who I mean. I also attended the handover ceremony, whereby the country of honour status was handed over to next year's country, which is going to be Canada. Margaret Atwood was there as well.
No, we won't talk about the Nobel Prize.
No. Any Canadians here? So am I telling you the truth that once upon a time you had to know how to repair a motorboat? Yes, they say I'm telling the truth.
Do we still have the right to sit in our cozy chairs, read one book after another instead of going out, join Extinction Rebellion and block the streets?
Well, you're very welcome to do that, and if I were 30 years younger, I would probably be climbing up pyramids too.
I would like to show you the poem which is the basis for the slogan A Very Last Time.
Det den drømmen vi ber på. At noe vidunderlig skal skje. At det må skje. At tidi skal åpne seg. At hjertet skal åpne seg. At dører skal åpne seg. At berget skal åpne seg. At kjelder skal springe. Skal åpne seg. At vi ei morgenstund skal glide inn. På en våg vi ikke har visst om.
I think we can say you successfully delivered the dream. And I hope Canada will carry this dream.
I was kind of in two minds whether to stay for the whole thing, but I'm glad I did because there were performances afterwards. And one of them I shall truly never forget. I have never heard anything like that. I'm not sure I ever want to again.
I'm learning how to love myself. Yeah, I'm alright. Just living in the skin I'm in. Truth about stories last time. Well, that's the truth. The truth about stories. That was amazing.
I somehow accidentally got into the press area. I've never been here before. You're supposed to have a special pass and everything, but I just went up the escalator following loads of people and oops. So I'm going to try and get out as surreptitiously as possible, holding my camera to look super professional and press-like. You may have noticed the two bags behind me. If you attend the book fair, you're likely to come away with a lot of loot. I didn't actually spend a penny. This bag is from the store of the federal government. And I mean, it's handy. A tote bag is always handy for your shopping. This pen is very cool. It's from the BDU, the German Association for Translators and Interpreters. I belong here. I have a pen, thank you. There's sometimes live translation going on. Many of the events actually are interpreted live as well. You can pick up a headset and listen in. So that's ultra cool. I'm going to be honest actually. It's kind of slim pickings this year. A lot less food than before. My pro tips are bring a sandwich, bring bottled water because there are cafes dotted around, but things are expensive and there's probably not going to be anywhere left to sit. And of course there's queues, so I mean, yawn. I think the main thing to take away, apart from loads of cool goodies, is sit down whenever you can. Use every bathroom, use every seat, because you don't know when you're going to see one again. So yes, sit and pee as often as you can. Have you ever seen those books which are like Spanish for dummies, computer programming for dummies? Well, this is an empty book for dummies, so it's a cute little notebook. I got this wonderful little bookmark. Lesen ist Kino im Kopf, or like reading is cinema for your brain or in your head. Guest of Honour always brings its own souvenirs, and their slogan was "The Dream We Carry." And I don't really know what the dream was, to be honest, so I can't tell you if they carried it successfully or not. There's also an area where Frankfurt illustrators and artists are able to show their original work. I've got a whole array of beautiful, colourful postcards which just encapsulate the talent of all of these illustrators who are part of the Illustratorenorganisation. I'm going to write a personal message on them and a lucky recipient will get one from me, and you can sell it for loads when I'm famous. So if you head over to my Facebook page, you'll see exactly how the giveaway is going to work, and the link to my Facebook is below this video. This is a selection of Norwegian poems translated into German. The ubiquitous tote bag. Isn't that cute? Everybody loves a freebie. the Germans perhaps even more so than other people. And last year I felt people were getting a bit grabby. It's kind of shocking and sad to see the amount of scrunched up leaflets and things people have just dumped all around the exhibition centre. Everything I picked up, I did try to pick up mindfully. I did try and think, what am I going to use this for? I already had the purpose of the giveaway in mind when I got the stack of postcards, so that's good. But the things that you'll have seen decorating my room at other times are also giveaways from the book fair in large part. And look how pretty this is. So bunt wie das Leben means as colourful as life. It's like Christmas here. Create your own book. Okay, I will. Design your own future. There's 10 techniques and mental hacks to make your life the way you always wanted it, apparently. Now, I always make a special point of going up to the academic floor because most of the time when I fly home for Christmas, the reading material I've brought for the plane is one of these. So I stocked up. Here's another on nature. Look at that amazing frog, oh my gosh. Norwegian tongue twister. Fisker den Fritz, fiske, fersk fisk, fersk fisk, fisker den Fritz. Fisker den Fritz, fiske, fersk fisk, fersk fisk, fisker den Fritz. Something about fish. Gift tags. Picked up something for my dad. About tags. One day we're going to have to take him to the Maritime Museum in Hamburg, otherwise he will explode. Merry Christmas, Dad! There's a trashy stall that does these kind of, I don't even know if they exist in other countries, kind of soap opera stories. So like it's a comic, but with real photos. Photos of real people acting out the scenarios, and they're cheesy as heck and stuff. I went over there because you can always pick up a good Sudoku book. This is a collection of short stories from the winners of the 2018 European Union Prize for Literature. Oh! Yeah, of course I didn't really think about this. This is in like Serbian. That's cool, I'll learn Serbian. How funny. Why has this one been translated from German? And then, oh, I'm stupid. They've all been translated. Oh, brilliant. So I'm not going to have to actually learn a new language to read the book. Yay! And last but not least, I have, at long last, a Hugendubel bag. The non-initiated among you will be going, what the heck's a Hugendubel bag? Oh, I didn't know there was a pen in it. Hugendubel is Germany's equivalent of like Waterstones or something. In Europe, I would always see people walking around with tote bags with this really cool kind of gothic script pattern. And I was like, are they from some kind of university or something? Because they look really fancy. And then I moved here. The mystery was finally solved, and now that I have one, I can truly call myself initiated into the German way of life. I really did enjoy the book fair. Like I said, I was slightly disappointed by the Norwegian bit of it because it could have been a lot more Norwegian. Seriously, I even have some Norwegian ancestry. I would have loved it to really stand out, and I think it should have. But it just seemed so lackluster. Other than that, it was, as usual, great fun, great freebies, great talks, great events, great atmosphere. It's just so good to know that there are so many people still mega enthusiastic about the written word. And even though there were stalls on new technologies and even like a van outside for Nintendo Switch, I think it's fair to say that these things are never going to be able to give us the kind of magic that books do. I would recommend a visit if you're ever here. Head over to my Facebook page where I'll be explaining how the giveaway is going to work. Like, share and subscribe if you haven't already. And take care. Au revoir!